name is Marley. Welcome to my booktube channel. Today I thought I would film a day in the life vlog. I always enjoy filming the 24-hour reading vlogs that I do like once a year. So I thought I would do something kind of similar where I just vlog myself for the day, but it's not necessarily like I'm trying to read as much as possible in the day. I'm just taking you through a typical day in my life as, you know, a reader, diabetic, Toronto girly, you know. I think I'm kind of inspired by Olivia Reads a Latte. I love her channel. I have for years, but she's been doing a lot of like daily vlogs recently. She always does a weekly one too, but I just think it's really fun to see that like lifestyle stuff with the reading content. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. I don't know how interesting it's going to be for you, but I hope it's gonna be fun for me at least. So yeah, normally I just wake up to my cat meowing in my face, wanting her food. So I get up, I feed her, clean her litter box, and make myself a coffee. And then I just quickly get dressed, just throw something on. And I don't do too much to get ready because I do work from home most days. So I just plop at my computer, normally for around 8 o'clock. It's almost 9 now, so I've been working for a bit doing my typical like morning stuff. It kind of works out because my boyfriend works nights, so he's asleep right now, and I'm more of like a morning person. I like to do all my tasks really early, so I have the most motivation in the morning, and I'll normally like do most of my tasks in the morning before he even wakes up, which is good because then when he wakes up I get a little bit more distracted and stuff. Oh, I should tell you what I'm reading. This is a reading channel. So I've been reading Nothing More to Tell by Karen McManus. This is her most recent release. I think it came out towards the end of last year. She is a YA thriller author, and I'm pretty close to being done this. I'm definitely gonna finish it tonight. And basically what this one is we're following this teenage girl who gets this internship at a true crime podcast. She's still in high school and it's meant for college students, but you know, of course she gets in because she brings this really interesting case to them. So basically her 8th grade teacher was murdered back when she was in 8th grade, and the case was never solved. 3 other students, these 3 I guess, found his body, but the murderer was just never found. So she's kind of bringing this case to the table again to figure out what actually happened to her favorite teacher from back in the day. And yeah, we'll talk more about that later. I will get back to work and update you in a bit, I guess. Hello, hi. So it's been a couple hours. I've been working and getting through my tasks honestly pretty quickly. I might even get going on some of my other tasks later that I plan to do later in the week and just kind of get ahead. So love that. But I thought I would just talk more about the book since I am almost done it, so I should have thoughts on it, right? This has some, you know, similar things to all of Karen's other YA thrillers, but it also is a little bit different. Normally Karen has more points of view, like at least 4, I think, but this one only has 2 actually. So we have our main character, Bryn. So she's the one working on the true crime podcast, and she wants to be a journalist. I feel like she often has this type of character that's very like curious and wants to investigate the mystery that's going on, which honestly, I love those types of characters in YA thrillers, so that's great. Then our other main character we're following is Trip, and he was one of the boys who came across the teacher's dead body. We don't have the points of view for the other 2 though, so that was kind of a surprise to me. As for the mystery, I did have a suspect almost immediately. Hopefully you can't hear that drilling outside. There's like a ton of construction going on. I did have this one suspect immediately, even though there wasn't really any evidence that it could be him right off the bat, but it was just like a vibe. At this point, he's not really on the radar at all, so I'm kind of holding out hope there will be some sort of twist where it might be him, because that would be a real shocker. However, it does seem very clear at this point like who it's going to be. So I'm just curious of like if it's gonna continue in that trajectory or if there's gonna be some major twists. So it's really gonna come down to the final chapter, the final pages of how I'm going to kind of rate this book. So far it's been very on par with her other books where, you know, there are a few different suspects to consider throughout. We have a few different reveals. None of them are overly shocking. We do have a subplot of a romance going on between Bryn and Trip, which I always appreciate, but I feel like all of her ships are just kind of basic and and always just kind of the same. So I'm leaning towards like a 4 or a 3.5. I normally rate her books a 4, even though they probably don't deserve them. I just find they're such like quick, easy reads that I'm like, I guess a 4, like it was enjoyable. I do think that the podcast thing is not being utilized a lot. I feel like it's something that authors have just been adding to have that kind of, ooh, it's a podcast, because it's been so trendy, but it's not really having a huge amount of relevance. As for the rest of my morning, my blood sugars have been really great actually. They've been very steady. If you don't know, I have type 1 diabetes. If you have not seen my type 1 diabetes reading blog I did last year, go check it out. I'll link it. But yeah, my blood sugars have been at like a 6 this morning, which is really good. Sometimes I'm higher in the morning if I've like eaten a lot the night before, or sometimes my coffee spikes my sugars up, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Last night I had a pretty low carb dinner, just like of soup, so happy to see that. Back again. So it is now noon, which means it is socially acceptable to eat lunch, and I would normally eat lunch like as soon as I can. I don't eat breakfast typically, so I'm always like pretty hungry by lunchtime, and I decided to make my classic go-to lunch so you guys can see. It's pretty basic, but basically I have toast. I love toast. I normally get this Dempster's bread, and I always just go for the lowest carb bread option that I can find, which is typically Dempster's, one of their like seedy breads. This time I got Ancient Grains with quinoa apparently. Because I'm diabetic, I have to carb count. So I know that 2 pieces of bread is 30 carbs. So there we go. On the bread, I will put margarine, and then I'll do aged cheddar cheese. It's my favorite cheese to put on toast and sandwiches, and then tomatoes. Tomatoes are like one of my number 1 things that I eat the most of, I think, with toast, sandwiches, salads, you know, with salt and pepper as well. Oh, and the carbs for everything else that I just mentioned is so low that it's basically 0. So for total, the toast would be 30. Then I'm going to have a like yogurt bowl as well. So I always tend to get this brand Source yogurt. I actually have like 3 different flavors right now. And for this, the carbs are 10 grams for 3/4 cups. I normally measure things, but with yogurt, I don't really measure it because of the consistently. Like it's kind of annoying to like put it into a measuring cup and then it's all like sticky, you know what I mean? So normally I'll just like eyeball it for this, and I normally do like probably a little bit more than 1/3 of a cup. So I'll round it up to maybe like 15 carbs for this. Then I'm gonna put some raspberries in there, which I have. Raspberries are like really low carb. I don't even know, like I'll probably put like 10 or 15 in, which maybe I'll say is like 5 carbs. That might even be too much. And then we have granola. So I got this keto granola from Costco a few weeks ago that I've been enjoying. I'm sure you guys know what keto means. Like basically it's low carb, which is great for me as a diabetic to kind of keep it low carb. It's easier to manage my sugars. And this is only 5 grams of carb for 1/3 of a cup. And the granola I used to get, like the normal kind, would be 20 grams of carb for the same amount. So this is a lot less. And basically it's made up of like, it has coconut for flavor, and then it's like a bunch of nuts and seeds. So that's why it's so low. So what is that all together? Let's do my mental math. 30, 45, 50, 55. So we'll say 55 for the carb total. And basically I'm going to do a pre-bolus of my insulin with my PDM and insulin pump. Pre-bolus just means you're giving the insulin like in advance, which is the best thing to do because then the insulin can start working. So I normally will plan out my meal and do all the carb counting, give my bolus, and then wait like 15 minutes at least before eating. It's very annoying, but okay. So enter carbs, we said 55. My blood sugar I checked before I started this clip and it was 5.9. So I put that into the calculator and it's telling me to give 5.35 units. So sounds good to me. I'm gonna confirm it. And it's delivering the insulin. So I will come back in a bit to make it and to eat it. And another note, I like to buy the same brands of stuff because then I just start to like memorize what the carb info is and what the nutrition info is. Like if I was getting a different brand of yogurt every time, I would always have to check. Same with bread. But if I get the same brands, I just kind of get to know what it is and memorize it. So it just makes it easier. the garbage out and going for a walk. So I try to walk every day. It doesn't always happen. Today it happens to be like raining and snowing. So I'm not looking forward to this. I probably shouldn't go, but I want to. I want to get out and do a couple errands that I've been putting off since I have you guys with me, hoping it will keep me more accountable. Just crazy that it was literally so beautiful, so sunny on the weekend. And now you can literally see that it's snowing today. It was like summer on the weekend with shorts and a t-shirt, but this is Canada, everyone. Now it is snowing again. One task down, one to go. So I did my second task of picking up my cat food, but it is like a huge bag. So this is not the most peaceful walk. This is not a mental health walk. So while I didn't love my walk, I am glad that I went. One, to get those things off my plate so Peach doesn't starve, and I had to drop off my little pods at the FedEx like drop off thing, basically my insulin pods from my pump. I change them every 3 days, so I get a lot of them, and the company Omnipod has a recycling program where if you send them back, they will get rid of them in an environmentally friendly way. Also, my blood sugars were spiking after lunch. I took a screenshot. I think they're up to like 13 or something. So walking always helps bring them down, like cardio, physical activity. So they actually came down to a great number. I'm at like 6 point something, which is great, back in range. So I'm happy about that. I'm also hungry though. So I think I'm gonna have a snack. I think I'm gonna go for these low carb snacks so that I don't have to take any insulin with it. It's the other snack from Costco that we got. These clusters, grain-free chocolate clusters. So a lot of those same ingredients, I think, of those seeds. But I'm gonna have a couple of these. All right, we are back in the kitchen. I am now making dinner. I'm just making spaghetti because I didn't really plan too much. I actually didn't have enough spaghetti noodles, so I threw in a few like of a different type of pasta. Hopefully it's enough for me. I already did my bolus as well. As you can imagine, pasta is pretty high carb, so sometimes that can be a struggle, but we tend to buy this I showed the box earlier. It like is made with vegetables or something like that. They're like green noodles, and it's just better on my blood sugars. It just does not spike as much as like a normal white pasta, you know? So cooking that, excited to eat, but I also just finished Nothing More to Tell. Actually, let me grab it. Nothing More to Tell. I'm so torn on what to rate it because, as I said before, easy to read, pretty enjoyable, and the person who ended up being the killer was not someone that was directly on my radar at all throughout the whole book, to be honest, which sometimes is nice for it to be someone you didn't expect, but sometimes it's not nice because sometimes you want there to have been clues throughout that would make you think it was this person so that it all makes sense and sort of clicks together at the end. I feel a little bit lackluster just about who it ended up being. There was quite a bit of action and stuff like that, and the killer also wasn't revealed until like the final couple pages, which I do kind of like when books do that. They have like a twist at the very end. So I'm thinking maybe like a 3.5. I know I need to be more critical in my rating sometimes, and I think deep down like no, this is not a 4. Like it has to be a bit less, but I feel like 3 like is too low. So I think we're gonna go with 3.5 for this. And you know what? I'm finishing it pretty early in the night. It's only 6 p.m. So I think I'm going to start my next book tonight, and it is my book club read for my personal book club with my friends. We decided to go with One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We're all kind of on a Taylor Jenkins Reid kick, as most of the world is right now. So yeah, we read Carrie Soto last month, and then a bunch of us are like at different stages in how many of her books that we've read. I've read all of her ones that are in the Evelyn Hugo universe, but I haven't read any of her more like backlisted ones. So we thought, since One True Loves has an adaptation that I think just recently came out, we decided to go with that one. So I have the ebook for that, so I'll start that tonight. And Dakota is at work, so I do have the night to myself, and then I'll just do my usual like jump rope that I do after dinner like twice a week, so then I'll need to shower. But yeah, mostly reading, I think. Alright, I just finished watching the first episode of the second season of Shadow and Bone. I'm very behind. I just have not gotten to it, but I thought I would put it on while I ate. I actually have an unpopular opinion. I didn't really like the first season as much as everyone else did. And then I've just been hearing that this season is worse, so I'm not really expecting much. However, I was in a really dark place when I watched the first season. It was actually the weekend I came out of the hospital when I was diagnosed with diabetes. Speaking of diabetes in this vlog. So I was going through a very like traumatic time, and then I ended up binging that. So maybe being in a better like mental state, I'll like this season better. But I don't know. The first episode was okay. I feel like I like don't even remember the storylines from the book at this point. So I don't really, you know, see what's gonna be coming at all. I do love Nikolai. He's my favorite book character, and I really like the actor they got for him. He's really pulling it off. I feel like I wish this actor had played like Jace Wayland, like in any of the adaptations for TMI. That would have been good. But yeah, so I'm liking him. I like those twins too. Don't remember their names, but I like them. That casting seems to be good. I was a little distracted while watching it, not gonna lie, but the crows, they are one of my favorite parts of the show too. I like that finally all the crows are coming together. Kaz is definitely a standout for me in terms of like the cast and the characters and stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna be honest, it's 9 p.m. and I'm hungry, but I'm really struggling with what to eat. I'm standing by the cabinet. My blood sugars are pretty good. Like, they haven't spiked too much from dinner, just probably because of the jump rope kept it pretty level. I feel like there's nothing I really want to eat. What I'm thinking is maybe having some of these like vegetable chip things. They're like pretty low carb, and then I could like eat it kind of like a chips, which could be good for my little snacky craving. Or I'm thinking these little brownies we have left, but last time I had these, they really spiked my blood sugar. But I could maybe just take some extra insulin. I think I might have both. Okay, I think I'm gonna go to bed soon, so this will be my final update for my first daily vlog. I've been reading One True Loves a little bit, but I gotta admit I was a little bit distracted, kept going on my phone, so I only got to 14%. If you haven't heard what One True Loves is about, it is a pretty juicy story. So basically there's this woman, and in the first chapter, like first line actually, we see that she is engaged to this man, and then she gets a phone call from her husband. What? So basically this girl was married to this man who seemed to have died in this big accident. So I think, you know, years pass, she moves on, finds another man, and is engaged to him when she gets a phone call from her original husband, and we find out that he actually survived this accident. And that's why it's called One True Love, because she loves these two men, and I'm just so interested to see like who her real true love's gonna be, who she's gonna end up with, the whole thing. So yeah, so we get that first chapter where we see where she gets the phone call, and then we go back in time to when she's 17 years old, and she actually meets both of these men at that time, which surprised me a little bit. I didn't know she was gonna have known both of them from the same time. I thought it was gonna be like, you know, man number one, and then later she'd meet man number two, but she actually knew man number two since she was a teen as well, which I don't want to put spoilers out there because I'm 14% in, but I feel like that means that man number two is going to be her soulmate. Like, I just feel like the fact that she has also known him her whole life and they've been friends or whatever, it's giving endgame vibes, but we'll see. We will not see in this vlog though, because I'm gonna wrap this up. So I guess you'll have to tune in to my wrap up at the end of the month to see what I end up reading this book. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you actually did watch this video, I don't know how many people will. Leave me a comment if you'd like, subscribe if you've not already, and definitely make sure to follow me on social media as well. I'm trying to get back into posting more on Bookstagram. I don't know if I'm going to get the strength to go back on Book Talk. I just feel like it's a lot of work to do all the platforms, but still follow me on there. Thank you for joining for this very chill day in the life with me. It was nice to kind of just have a chill, relaxing day for the most part, because my next 2 days are going to be pretty busy. I'm going into the office both days. I also have a big work meeting as well one of those nights. So this was kind of a look into when I work from home, when I have a more chill day, and when Dakota's working, so I'm home alone. Anyways, thanks so much. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.